Hey, I'm Cal Cates, and I'm here to give you some sort of more practical insight into what I just alluded to in the article that I wrote about misinformation and your role in it as a healthcare provider, massage therapist. And it's really easy to say, like, this is a thing that we should do. We should interrupt our clients' false stories or misinformation, but it's something else to actually do it. So I thought I'd provide a few actual examples of times and ways that this pops up and the really simple and kind of subtle ways that we can educate our clients without making them feel stupid, without making them feel like we're sort of smarter than them somehow. So many of the things that you'll see in these examples that I'm going to share are actually your client's way of trying to tell you that they know something about their body or that they're concerned about something related to their body. So the way that we respond to the things they say that we might know to be inaccurate is a really important thing when it comes to building that relationship and building the trust that allows you to collaborate with your client in addressing the issues that have brought them to your office. So, are you ready? Let's go.
Oh, this is so great. I love that I can just lie here and you'll boost my immune system.
So the immune system thing is huge. And if we did a national tour of massage clinics everywhere in the States and probably globally, we would find that 9 out of 10 brochures in massage practices say that massage therapy boosts the immune system. There's not actually a lot of research to back that up. Again, this is not a dangerous thing for your client to believe, but it's not accurate. And you can deliver some more accurate information to your client and share that with your client in a way that helps them understand that you are invested in their well-being and that also you know a little bit about how massage works and how it doesn't work and where the gaps of knowledge are. So when it's something like this, I often start with something like, that is my favorite myth about massage therapy. So in this case, this person says, oh, I'm so glad I can just lie here and you can boost my immune system. So I would just sort of laugh. And again, so much of the way you respond depends on the relationship you have with your client. If this is a new client, if you've immediately established rapport, if it's a new client, or if you're feeling a little tentative and you're still sort of like trying to get a feel for this person, or if this is someone you've been seeing for a long time, all of those things are going to affect the way that you approach this. I tend to come from a place of humor and really from a place of we're all sharing what we consider to be common knowledge, right? But common knowledge is often not based in fact. It's just something that we've all been willing to believe and that seems plausible enough, right? So in this case, this person says that you're going to boost their immune system. So maybe just very simply say, that thing about immune system strength and massage boosting is one of my favorite myths. There is no doubt that it is valuable for you to spend an hour prioritizing yourself and allowing some relaxation into your life. And also, there's actually not a lot of research that makes a straight line sort of connection between massage therapy and a stronger immune system. So I think the time we're going to spend today is still real valuable, but that is definitely a myth that a lot of people believe is part of what's happening when you receive massage therapy.
Should I just like use the foam roller? Like I feel like when I get in there and really like work it, it just feels so much better.
Oh man, self-care or self-medication, self-treatment is definitely a place where our clients have some interesting ideas about what is and is not helpful. And so many of our clients' ideas about how to care for themselves when they're not in our practices come from a sense of their body sort of doing them wrong. And the foam roller is a classic example. I feel like I started my practice with marathon runners who swore by the foam roller and would swear by the bruises that I would see on their IT bands or on their quads when they would come in for massage. And they say, oh, I was foam rolling this weekend. And it just sounded terrible. And then as I learned more about foam rolling and how people do it, I realized that people sort of use the foam roller like they're mad at their bodies and that the foam roller itself might be quite helpful, but it's all about application. So when a person describes it as this client did and says, man, and I really their voice changes, their facial expression changes, like, I really abuse myself with the foam roller and it's amazing. You can gently suggest that the foam roller in itself is not something that I am against. However, if you think you might be able to use the foam roller as a tool of love and support for your body, by all means, use the foam roller. And listen to your body as you use it. If using the foam roller results in additional pain, that might not be as supportive as you imagine it to be. So get curious. Talk to me about the foam roller. When do you use it? How often do you use it? How do you use it? And your client's answers to those questions can help you shift them to a more realistic understanding of the possible benefit of the foam roller and the possible harm they could be doing with the foam roller.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing okay with the chemo. It's not my favorite. I mean, but when I feel sad, I just shut it off. My acupuncturist said actually that cancer feeds on negative emotions. So I'm just feeding my cancer, like when I cry or when I feel sad. And so I don't know. I mean, I just I don't feel it. And so, she also suggested that I only buy food from the farmer's market, and I should only eat lentils and nothing out of a can, a bag, or a box. So, I mean, that's been hard, but I don't want to make my cancer worse. So I'm trying to stick to all of that.
This is a very sticky spot. When a client comes to your practice and shares with you advice, recommendations, treatment plans that have been offered to them by another healthcare provider, whether it be a medical doctor, an acupuncturist, a naturopath, whoever it might be, someone else on what we would consider their care team has suggested something that you either know to be incorrect or possibly harmful, or that just based on your own experience you suspect might not be in your client's best interest. It's very important that we protect our clients and care for them, but that we also take into account the relationship and the commitment we have to other providers who are ostensibly, and we hope, also working in the best interest of the person that we happen to be treating at this moment. So in a case like this, and we could insert all sorts of scenarios where a client comes in and says, my doctor told me to, my trainer told me to, my whomever suggested a thing that I feel like might be harmful. I tend to just send it back to the client and say, so in this person's case, it looks like they're having a bit of a hard time following the advice of this other provider, and that they are feeling sadness but don't want to feel sadness, and that the diet regimen that's been recommended sounds like it's a little hard. So I might be inspired to say to my client, so how does it feel to feel like you have to eat these specific things? How does it feel to sort of close down on your sadness and to stay as neutral as possible while being curious? Often just inviting a client to wonder about something they're experiencing is enough to open a door for them to consider it differently. If you're seeing this client over time and you're noticing the ongoing recommendations of another provider are causing some degree of harm, it might be worth reaching out to that other provider, talking to your client and saying, I would love to be able to collaborate with your whomever it might be, other provider, so that we can provide you the best possible care. Because the other thing that happens is a little bit of a game of telephone. So maybe the acupuncturist said, don't cry, don't feel sad, and only eat these very specific things. But it's also possible that your client was hearing a filtered version of that because there was a lot of other things. There were a lot of other things happening in their mind. So getting it straight from that provider, and again, going in with some curiosity and saying, I don't know anything about naturopathy, acupuncture, being a physician. Here's what the client told me. I'd love to be able to support your recommendations. Let's talk about this. Our non-confrontational nature as, I think, people and as providers who want to be caring can sometimes prevent us from doing this. But we have to remember that we go to work every day and we work with people so that we can help them be as healthy and safe as possible. So hopefully that's inspiring enough to ask your client questions in the first place, and then if necessary, to feel willing and able to reach out to another provider in the best interest of that client.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead. I mean, if you don't get in there and dig or like really work, it's not going to get any better. You totally cannot hurt me.
I really love to use humor to introduce people to the idea that things they believe about their bodies and how best to treat it might be a little bit off base. This is one of my favorites, this thing that so many people have said over the years, you can't hurt me. That is excellent. I have no intention of hurting you. And I have said that to many clients who have offered this to me. You got to get in there and really, basically show my body who's boss and make the pain stop by causing me more pain is essentially what they're saying. So being able to just say like, so actually, first of all, I don't plan to hurt you. So that's great. And also, I don't even want to get into the neighborhood of possibly hurting you. And this idea that if you're sore the day after a massage, you got a good massage is a wrong-headed idea. And you certainly don't want to say to your client, that's a wrong-headed idea. But you can suggest to them that if you're in pain the day after a massage, chances are good that you got injured, not that you actually sort of got your money's worth. And that this is a really common misconception. And to make that part of your vernacular is really important, that you're not dumb for believing this. You're not an idiot. You have probably seen something that seemed like benefit when someone worked real deeply with your body. But if you're willing to trust me, and again, this is all about the rapport that you may or may not have established so far with your client in terms of, let's do it this way. You let me know. I certainly don't want you to feel like I tickled you for an hour and didn't really make meaningful contact with your muscles. And also, if I come to a place where you're experiencing pain, causing you more pain is actually not going to support your body and you in working together in a more harmonious way. So really being able to protect your own body by not working more deeply than feels safe, but also to educate the person on your table that causing you more pain is actually not why we're here. And you will actually, over time, maybe not just after today's session, feel better with the level of pressure that I'm providing. So if you're willing to trust me, let's see how this goes.
So, like, how long do you think it's going to take to fix this?
This is another classic example of wrong thinking about one's body and also about the possible remedy for what it is that has brought them to see you. So how long will it take to fix this? I generally will actually laugh a little bit out loud, and not in a mocking way, but in a like, yeah, that's a fair and funny question, because first of all, I'm not, and I will say to them, like, I don't know that I'm willing to get on board with the idea that anything is broken here. So that's great. That means there's actually nothing to fix. I do understand that your body is not working the way you wish it was, and we are here together, you, me, and your body, to kind of figure out what's happening there. We're going to listen to your body's messages, and we're going to, over time, figure out a way, hopefully, to help your body work in more harmony. And also, this question of how long will it take to fix this correlates directly to how did we get here? Chances are good this did not happen in the last 5 minutes. So if this has been brewing over months, even if you haven't been feeling it, chances are good your body has been working on this thing that you're now experiencing as pain for quite a while. So chances of us resolving it in a single session aren't super great. We can make progress, and we're definitely gathering useful information today to figure out what the next step is in this plan to get you and your body back on track.
Oh yeah, that's great. You know, I keep my tension in my shoulders. There's a lot of knots up there. There's a lot of knots, right?
I love the way people want to just, they want like a medal or a cookie for having the tightest shoulders, or for telling you that they sort of know where they keep their tension. And I love I keep my tension in my shoulders, and I steal directly from a colleague of mine who says, well, I keep snacks in my belly. Which again, will make your client laugh, hopefully, and also make them think about like, oh yeah, I keep my tension in my shoulders. Like, why is that a thing that I declare? But then to ask them very kindly and curiously, tell me what inspires your belief that you keep your tension in your shoulders. Because what you want to know is, what are you really telling me? Are you telling me you have pain in your shoulders? Are you telling me that you have a stressful life? Are you telling me that other people have told you that it looks like you have tense shoulders? Sort of, what is it that you're asking me for by sharing this information? And I think that's really the thing, is that most of our clients don't communicate with us directly. They're sort of fishing in various ways that they're not even aware of. So our job is to listen with that antenna that says, okay, what are you trying to tell me, or what are you asking me by sharing this piece of information? And that over time, we become better at sort of reading between those lines.
Yeah, I mean, my due date's tomorrow, so I'm hoping that you could like use those pressure points and just make the baby come faster.
Whether or not you have your shingle out, that you do prenatal massage, chances are good that someone has shown up on your table, or will, and will ask you this question. And again, I will steal from my colleague Carrie Jordan, who says, if I could do this, I would be rich. If I could actually just push a button on a person's body and make them deliver the baby that they're carrying, I would not be a massage therapist. I would just be the baby pusher. And I would be this person, and people would just wait in line outside my office, and I would push their ankles, they'd have their babies, and off they'd go. The body doesn't have an eject button. And what I can do for you in the next hour is to support your body in calming, relaxing, preparing for delivery. But there's actually not a thing that I can push on your body that can actually make you deliver a baby. So if that sounds good to you, let's give it a shot. Oh, yeah. Looks like you found my little spot of scar tissue. I figured, you could just break that up, right? Fibroids and scar tissue are things that most people wish they didn't have in their bodies, on their bodies, as any part of their corporeal experience. As massage therapists, we cannot break up scar tissue, fibroid tissue. We can work real deeply in that area and give you the impression that we're somehow being helpful in your healing process. But it's actually just dangerous. Certainly with fibroid tissue, we are not going to be helping our clients by working deeply and trying to, quote, break up this really strong connective tissue. And scar tissue is the same, actually. Scar tissue doesn't actually want us to bully it. It has a whole life of its own, and it wants us to listen, maybe to do a little bit of stretching, a little bit of tensile stretching, and kind of paying attention to the way that it's moving. But it's not about vigor and sort of like this idea of busting, which is, I think, how a lot of our clients approach their bodies. When you think about the story of having knots or having trigger points and sort of what should be done to treat those things, vigor, right, and deep pressure and probably some pain are what most of our clients think equals success and progress. So it's important, again, for us to talk about what we can do. I can't actually break up the fibroids in your uterus, wherever they might be, but I can work around the area. I can create some more space there, whatever language you might use, that I can possibly improve the experience of being in your body. But fibroid tissue is not something that massage therapy is going to break up in any kind of a safe or sustainable way. Yeah, I did this crazy workout yesterday, and my muscles are loaded with lactic acid, like so sore. This is one of my other favorite myths about massage therapy, and there's so many things to love about this totally wrong-headed story about lactic acid, not the least of which is that it's a classic example of bad research catching on in the public sphere. 1926, this guy does some research with some frog legs from dead frogs. They didn't even put the whole frog in the thing, just the legs. Puts them in there, runs some electricity through there. The muscles contract a couple times and then they just stop contracting. Takes them out, analyzes the legs. They're full of lactic acid. He decides, and in fact gets a Nobel Prize for his research on what he calls, I think, glycolysis, and turns out to not be a thing. And over time, in the 1970s, in fact, other research is done that demonstrates that not only is lactic acid not a negative byproduct of exercise, but it's actually a form of energy when we're exercising. And that the phenomenon of delayed onset muscle soreness is still kind of a mystery to science and physiology nerds. So why is it important to tell your clients this? You don't have to tell them that whole story. Some of them will be into it. And I often say to people, like, stop me if you heard this one. Do you want to know about the current research or whatever? And some clients will totally geek out with you, and others will be like, nope. So read the room, decide how nerdy you want to get. But it's important that our clients have an understanding and respect for the complexity of the human body. And this lactic acid conversation fits right in with the idea of flushing toxins, and that our bodies are actually designed to flush the byproducts of metabolism. If you have a working liver, working kidneys, you don't need anybody to flush anything from your body. Your body is doing that already and taking care of itself. Lactic acid is the same way. We don't have a buildup of lactic acid after we exercise. Lactic acid was part of the exercise and part of us being successful while exercising, but delayed onset muscle soreness is a thing that not only do we not fully understand what causes it, but there's not really agreement about how to treat it. Getting a massage, probably not going to hurt. Helps some people, doesn't help other people. Stretching before, stretching after, yoga, walking. We could ask everybody who's watching this video right now what they think causes it and what they think helps, and they would all tell you something different. So I feel like it's just a fun opportunity when people talk about flushing toxins, lactic acid, the other sort of like very simplistic mechanical ideas that our clients have about their bodies. It's a great opportunity to just introduce them to the idea that this thing is super complex, and that's just exciting. And we don't have to know why a thing works to know that it works. And we also will have a better experience in our bodies if we're more open to the possibility that there's a lot going on in here that we don't fully understand. So I feel like these are all certainly opportunities where you sort of step out of yourself and roll your eyes or shake your fist at the sky because I can't believe people still believe this, but we live and breathe this. So our clients are just walking around in their bodies, doing what they do. We have this great opportunity to say, hey, actually, I have some additional information that might help you have a more accurate relationship with your body. And what else are we for if that's not part of what we're for as massage therapists? And as healthcare providers, it is our job to help the people who own these things that we help them treat to understand them better, to understand how to take care of their bodies and actually what's happening inside them so that they can be kind and in more harmonious relationship with their bodies. Thanks.